2 weeks ago, I published a lamentation for the lack of competent villains in Disney's Star Wars. I decocted Kylo Ren as an emotional, irresolute, immature wannabe in comparison with Darth Vader. I decried the character's juvenile behavior and fairly described him as too conflicted and undisciplined to be taken seriously. In general, I complained about Disney-era baddies regularly, predictably, forsaking evil for good without consequent development. You'll find the link to my Star Wars Needs Better Villains video in the description. A few days ago, an inside source, a primary source, a person with intimate first-hand knowledge of the sequel trilogy, added unanticipated, indisputable testimony to my argument. Welcome to Galactic Initiative. I'm your host, Jeff. Kylo Ren was the sequel's main adversary, the ostensible equivalent of Darth Vader in the OT. The contrast between George Lucas and the dyad of J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson is best illustrated through the filmmaker's primary antagonists. Yes, I accurately used the word dyad. Lucas created Darth Vader, the most iconic villain in entertainment history. Abrams parodied Lucas, and Johnson subverted Abrams. Conceptually, Kylo Ren was excellent. Actually, he was ridiculous. On December 12th, Rich Eisen interviewed Adam Driver, and, during a true-false segment, Driver explained, well, listen.
Was it an immediate yes when you were offered for Kylo Ren?
No, I wanted to think about it. And there was no script to read. That was part of the gig. You could get the part, but then after you agreed to do everything, then they put you in a tiny room and allowed you to read the script for the first time.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
JJ walked me through what he wanted to do with the character, but you had to sign up and be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do it. So then once I did that, I went to London to start for pre-production. There's a tiny room down the hall. You can go in there and read the script. And so I was reading it for the first time.
And then you had to leave it there.
Yeah, then you had to leave it there.
But did you know that at least you're playing Vader 2.0? Like, at least did you know that conceptually?
I did, yeah. And I had an overall arc in mind that he wanted to do, which, then changed. But his idea was that almost the opposite journey of Vader, where Vader starts the most confident, the most, committed to the dark side. And by, the last movie, he's the most vulnerable and weak. And he wanted to start at the opposite, where this character was the most confused and vulnerable. And by the end of the three movies would be most committed to the dark side. So I tried to keep that arc in mind, regardless if that wound up not being the journey anyway, because it changed, obviously, as we were shooting.
Yeah, right.
Right, but I was still kind of focused on that.
When did it change?
Well, with Ryan, he took it into a different direction, but still it kind of still tracked with the character. Then the last one, it changed into being, about them and the dyad and things like that.
And then again, so you
and kind of evolving into Ben Solo. That was never part of it.
That wasn't either?
No.
Without acrimony, Driver's response exposed Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy. Was it revelatory? No, it was confirmational. Anecdotes from Adam Driver and John Boyega are the most credible, compelling, behind-the-scenes evidence of Disney's failures with Star Wars. John Boyega was vehement 3 years ago. Recall Mark Hamill in the moment.
Luke would never say that. I'm sorry. Well, in this version, see, I'm talking about the George Lucas Star Wars. This is the next generation of Star Wars. So I almost had to think of Luke as another character. Maybe he's Jake Skywalker. He's not my Luke Skywalker, but I had to do what Ryan wanted me to do because it serves the story well. But listen, I still haven't accepted it completely, but it's only a movie. I hope people like it. I hope they don't get upset. When I read 8, I told Ryan, I fundamentally disagree with virtually everything you've decided about my character. I mean, it says right in the script, forget the past, kill it if you have to. You're doing a pretty good job.
I'm trying.
Recall Oscar Isaac and J.J. Abrams in the aftermath.
Knowing that there was this 3-film trajectory that was happening, as abstract as that was for me, and at the same time, the uncertainty of not knowing that I had to do something, but not knowing how it was going to be used. So that, that was a interesting adjustment. But and it's also been an interesting journey as an actor with the development of a character. That's always been a bit of a wild card as far as the energy and his use in the story. So yeah, that's been unusual as well.
But having a plan, I have learned in some cases the hard way, is the most, critical thing, because otherwise you don't know what you're setting up. You don't know what you're, what to emphasize, because if you don't know the inevitable of the story, you're just as good as your last, sequence or effect or joke or whatever, but you want to be leading to something inevitable.
Isaac and Abrams hinted, but Hamill, Boyega, and Driver certified. The sequel trilogy was amateurish in development and dysfunctional in execution. It was created by grifters and hacks, and overseen by meddling executives, namely Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger. J.J. Abrams never intended Palpatine's return, the Force dyad, Kylo Ren's turn to the light. In short, his vision, hackneyed as it might have been, was doomed before its first act reached cinemas. The Force Awakens was neither triumph nor catastrophe. I won't excuse Abrams' customary plagiarism and planning deficiency. The sequel trilogy wouldn't have a satisfying conclusion if he wrote and directed every installment. Refer to Alias, Lost, Star Trek, and more. That said, he had no chance of success in Star Wars, thanks to Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy. And he made a bad situation worse with The Rise of Skywalker. The awful sequel films, underwhelming Galaxy's Edge, and defunct Galactic Starcruiser perfectly illustrate the efforts of Abrams, Johnson, and Kennedy. Final thought. Adam Driver is an excellent actor whose career survived the sequels. Though it can't change the past, I appreciate his honesty. Unlike Hamill and Boyega, he showed no ill will. Kylo Ren had potential, but his opponent was written without mistakes, injuries, or defeats, so his character was limited to raging and moping. Driver gave his best, but the challenges were insurmountable. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Check out Galactic Initiative for all things Star Wars.
Galactic Initiative is not authorized or endorsed by Lucasfilm Limited. The name Star Wars and all related materials are registered trademarks of Lucasfilm Limited, a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company, all rights reserved. Galactic Initiative is a registered trademark, and other product and company names are trademarks of their respective holders. Use does not imply affiliation or endorsement.